posted some videos from my trip in the Waymo into the general channel.
Oh, up the steering wheel.
That would freak me all the way the hell out.
That is freaky.
I do not like at all. Like at least give me give me like a Johnny Taxi like automated guy there.
Yeah, like at least a little like a screen with a face. I don't know.
Well, you know the Johnny Taxi thing from the not Fifth Element. It's one of those cyberpunkery. Total Recall.
I think it's. Oh, I thought there was some automated thing in Fifth Element too, but maybe I'm projecting.
Would you feel better if it had Mr. Feeney's voice talking to you?
I would love it if it had Kit driving. Yes.
Well, I don't know. Kit's a Cylon, so.
No, it actually had
John.
It actually had like a very. I know exactly what you're referencing. That was amazing, by the way. But no, like it had this very calming female voice. You open it up and it's just like, "Hello, Gordon," or whatever. You know, like it's crazy. It pulls up and it has your initials on top of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It pulls up and it has your initials on top of it, and then in the app you push unlock, and the car door opens, and you climb in, and it's like, "Welcome," and it starts like talking to you. And just, it is
gonna hack
trippy.
that so quick.
It is so trippy.
Like that's sus. That's so sus.
I feel like they should have at least, an equalizer display so there's at least like a waving line, something.
But yeah, it was and then like in the app you can choose the music and everything. It was like they really have thought of a lot of stuff. It's kind of trippy. Plus it's a Jag, so
yeah, they're all the white Jags.
Yeah, the one thing I'm like, are we live?
Yeah, we're live.
We're live.
Okay.
I'm listening and I'm trying to get everyone's sound level.
Okay. I just yeah. It was trippy.
Yeah, I don't trust it.
As I got out, I was I thanked it very politely and asked it not to destroy me in the inevitable robot uprising.
Doesn't it require a bow?
Karina keeps telling me with all the Alexas that we have around that that eventually, like when the robot uprising comes at it, that Alexa's head straight for me.
I unplugged mine. It was. I started getting ads for things that I'd never asked about, and I'm just like, no, you know too much.
I have a shopping list on my Alexa that consists of Alexa, stop! What the heck are you doing?
Adding, stop! What the heck are you doing to your shopping list?
No, I actually saw a really cool Raspberry Pi project for Alexa. Is you 3D print a cover for Alexa, and your Raspberry Pi has a microphone, and it has a speaker that's playing white noise into Alexa until it hears you say Alexa, so it can't hear what you're saying.
Oh man.
So it masks it, so your own device is listening for Alexa, not Alexa listening for it.
That's
some insider baseball. That's the white noise is what we use in classified facilities.
Oh, that's what you. Well, yeah. I mean, if it makes sense, that's what you'd use. Yeah.
Yeah, to help kick out eavesdroppers.
All right, let's get started. Normally I have a nice long intro for this, but I am really, really sick, and we're talking about Guitar Hero. You guys go, because I'm going to be silent this episode.
Oh, I thought we were going to make you sing one of these.
I was going to say, is Jordan going to be the singer in our rock band?
I mean, that's what I thought was happening. I thought that this was also a, kind of revenge splice stream
I mean,
kind of thing.
I do have Aerosmith Guitar Hero, so if we could get him to sing some Steven Tyler, just
I mean,
like
you could at least do the little tambourine part, right?
I thought he was
I can
prepping
barely
for the low
talk.
notes.
I can barely talk. That's
with
not
friends-
happening.
With friends like us, who needs enemies?
no
Baggins.
sweet child of mine.
Talk about
Oh
rhythm. night.
gosh.
Talk about Rhythm Night. Okay, so this is actually kind of how I not first, but like really got to know both Splice and Petrivka. It's how I ended up becoming roommates with them, at least earlier, because back in the day, I loved rhythm games like Guitar Hero. I loved DDR. I loved Donkey Konga. I loved Karaoke Revolution.
Oh, Donkey Konga. I forgot about that one.
Oh, Donkey Konga was amazing.
My
Anyways,
hands
Yeah.
hurt so much after Donkey Konga.
So what we did,
Bro, get some
what we did though,
Chloroseptic and sit down. We'll take it from here, man.
what I did though is I was in a condo and there were 4 condos on each floor, right? And I talked to the people in the 4 apartments that were on the floor that we were sharing, and I got them to agree to what I called Rhythm Night, which was just a big party. We invited everyone, and it covered all 4 rooms, and like one of them had DDR in it, one of them had Karaoke Revolution, one had Donkey Konga, and one had Guitar Hero, which eventually in later versions we evolved it to Rock Band. And
Perfectly honest, I did not know that there were other places to go. I only went to the one.
you were just in Guitar Hero the whole night.
Yeah, I think I did to the Donkey Konga once, but yeah.
Okay, but yeah, so I was
I have
around
with question real quick.
Yeah,
Did
go
you
for it.
start all since I'm the only one that doesn't know you guys through college? Did you guys start all of these rhythm nights with the rhythm of the night?
No, there was no Gloria Stefan
Yeah,
involved in this.
they didn't have
That's
that
not
one
Gloria, that's
available
not
yet.
Gloria Stefan, I don't think. I think that's someone else.
I
I'll
thought it
figure
was
that
Gloria
out.
Stefan.
Rhythm of the night.
Amy?
By Corona. Is
Okay.
the name of the band that did it.
I'm thinking Rhythm is going to get you.
Cerveza
yeah.
Crystal.
So anyway, continue. I just had to throw that joke out there.
Such a deep cut.
I don't think I'm trying to think if I ever went to one of those rhythm nights. I don't feel like I did, but I would
I
have
don't
been
know
in,
if you did or not.
I would have been in the DDR
I
room
thought-
if I did.
I thought you were at one of those.
You may. I honestly don't remember now. I did like 6 or 7 of them, and like the first one was just Rhythm Night, and then I had like the Son of Rhythm Night, and then the Revenge of Rhythm Night, and like I all the cheesy Rhythm Night Strikes Back.
in
I think.
3D.
Oh, you had more than I went to. I know I went to like half of them probably.
No, I did like 6 or 7, but that first one though, I remember that's when Splice was looking for an apartment for the summer, and he and I got to talking, and I mentioned that our roommate was moving out, and he was like, "Oh," and so he moved in, and that kind of, kicked
Started
off
it all?
our I mean, because like we've been friends, we met at Smash Nights as we've talked about in previous, but that's kind of how we became good friends. Is just he needed a place to live, and my apartment had a spot opening up, and now he is my basement dwelling gremlin. So
Much more gremlin today than normal.
indeed, I was gonna say if you argue, but yeah, so but no, so I've always loved rhythm games. Like, I mean, Guitar Hero, when it first came out, I became obsessed with it. Like I to this day, I think I have only been beaten once, like in competitive Guitar Hero, and it was by a guy who'd played that song at least a dozen times, and it was my first time on the song. So I actually feel okay about that. But dude, I loved these games.
And you had it on the PlayStation, I think, right?
Yes, I had it on the PlayStation, the PS2,
I mean, yeah.
because I'm old, and that's what my college, like that was the, the newest thing when I was in college.
Gordon, did we have it on the PS2?
Well, I did Rock Band, so
No,
And you had it
I
on the
was a-
Xbox, didn't you?
and I had it on the Xbox, yes,
yeah,
the
because
360.
I just remember the time when we had it and Gordon then ordered a controller and I said, oh, I'm going to do that too, so we'll have two. And I ordered it half an hour after he did. And his showed up 2 days later. Mine went to Montana, then to Canada.
Oh yeah, I remember. I forgot this one.
And I'm
Yeah,
just
the
like,
the,
I
the
don't
wayward controller.
I'm like, I don't but I ordered it half an hour, and Gordon's response was apparently it was a critical half hour.
It was truly important. So like, just to be clear for anyone who has no idea what we're talking about, rhythm games, as you can see on the screen right now, they were just these games where, indicator, like a song would play and indicators would come up and you had to hit the buttons in a certain order. And most rhythm games at the time especially had a special peripheral controller that, so for example, in Guitar Hero, you were playing a guitar. You had a guitar with like 5 buttons on it and a strum bar. And
And a whammy stick.
And a whammy stick. And it made you feel like a friggin' rock star. Because it's just hard enough that you're like, okay, this, what I'm doing is impressive, but it's just easy enough that you're like, you don't have to feel like you're a friggin', musical virtuoso to even accomplish anything. That's saved for the controller that Petrivka got for when he got Rock Band. Because my gosh, what was that thing?
What
The
thing?
Pro controller.
The Pro controller.
See, but like those rhythm games, I feel like were the natural progression of the OG rhythm games, which was the DDR game, which I can remember not necessarily in my youth, but I was a much younger man than I am now when I remember seeing them in arcades. And then you do the DDR
That was pretty
stuff.
much the only place they were, though, right? I mean, like, was there a console version?
Oh yeah. It was on the PS1. It was on the PS2.
Oh yeah.
But again, you had to get that awful Mac controller.
Yeah.
Well, there were the Mac. No, there were the Mac controls, but then there
lots
were
of Macs.
There were also
that's right,
like
the Harrises did that, except they had some weird open source version because that's the way they were.
Well, like there was the cheap mat. There was the cheap mat. There was the nice thick foam pads that had an inch of foam as an insert, and I get those. And some people would buy like the metal ones. That
if you were
I would
really
have the metal one, I think.
Yes, and I think you referred to it whenever he played it as the Truffle Shuffle.
Oh, that's right, because he'd always do his weird Euro dance steps when he was.
No, the problem with the thin ones is like they'd wear out and break pretty easy.
Well, and they'd slip around.
Yeah. Well, and there was one where
enough.
people would what they often do is they'd get like a piece of plywood and take one of the thin ones and mount it to the plywood so it'd make it hard and rigid. And they said that was actually a pretty good solution, but I always just bought the thick foam ones.
It was the unnatural evolution of the power pad.
But man, I loved DDR. That was my thing. It's funny because when I first saw it, I think I saw it just as making fun of it on an episode of King of the Hill, and thought it was a silly looking thing. But then I had a friend, like I think there was some activity at school at my high school that someone brought it, and like my friends got into it, and my friends bought it, and we would go over to their house and we'd play, and we all kind of got into it. And so, I bought DDR Max on the PS2 and bought some pads, and I really, really got into it because there's something just so satisfying about seeing those perfect combo scores just keep climbing and climbing and climbing. And then you get competitive with your friends of, who can get the better score or who could do, harder difficulty songs. And well, we all had our strengths. Like I'd always have the longest perfect combos, but my friend could beat harder levels than I could, even though he couldn't get as high of a combo and as high of a score on a song we could beat. So it's just kind of that way to compete with your friends on something. But yeah, loved DDR. I didn't really get into Guitar Hero as much though, but
Oh, I was all about Guitar
Wasn't-
Hero and
Guitar
Karaoke
Hero-
Revolution.
Wasn't Guitar Hero the origin of the "Stop Having Fun" meme by XKCD?
Yes.
Was it?
Or, well,
I thought that was Smash Brothers.
I have like a story.
I've seen it
about
on
that. I
both.
think
That's for sure.
I mean, yeah, for sure.
like I have like a real story behind that meme, which for real actually happened during a Rock Band session, which I don't know if I've told in this podcast before or not.
You know, I actually think. Hold on, really quick. I think it was an XKCD comic that had the "Stop Having Fun with Guitar Hero." I think it was some web comic.
Found it.
That's the one. But like I remember like me and my bestie Vestin and his girlfriend, now wife, Mims,
Yes.
and our friend
I was right. Yeah.
and our friend Cinder.
Like XKCD.
We're all playing Rock Band after, and we also have this this other friend Amma, and he just like sat there and like was like, "Hey man, you want to play with us?" Like, no, like I don't mind taking a break. Like, if you want to do the drums or like do this thing, it's like, no, I can play a real instrument. It's like you played the flute in marching band, bud. Like, no, stop. And then we just keep playing, and he was like, "Well, I'm just gonna leave while you pretenders keep playing." It's like, "But I can play the piano. Stop." It was just one of those like, I'm too good for this. Like, it's like we'll let you know when there's like a clarinet hero, bud.
Just give him an Iwi and call it good.
It was just one of those like, stop having fun. You know, you're not really playing instruments. Yeah, we know. Like that's why we're playing.
Yeah, I mean,
If I
I
wanted
a
to
real
be-
instrument, but I still enjoyed. I mean, I was terrible at Guitar Hero, but you know.
It's like if I wanted to be playing an instrument, I'd be playing an instrument. I want to play this.
I want to play this game with my friends and pretend
Yeah.
I'm a rock star.
Lizzie really enjoyed Rock Band, and in fact, recently she went to a retro store, and you're able to pick up the games for like $1 each, just about.
Oh,
you know?
wow.
Like the games
yeah.
are super cheap. It's the controllers that are expensive, and
Getting one that works.
Did
Yeah,
you
finding
get,
one
like,
that
the
works and
DLC and everything. That's the question I don't, because it was a service.
well,
really.
ours are on the PS2, so there is no DLC. But
See, I
course-
lost.
the other part that makes the controllers more expensive is the fact that the Rock Band team bought a bunch and dumped them into a volcano as an ad stunt. But you know, yeah.
See,
that sounds like
I
Atari and ET.
see. I kind of fell off the whole train but like right before it became a service, because like I have I have Guitar Hero 1 through 3 and Guitar Hero Aerosmith on the PS2
You
because
didn't go to the later versions.
no, I like once so what happened though is right around the time Guitar Hero 3 came out, the developer changed.
That's right.
It was Activision doing all their whole Activision thing.
And the original Guitar Hero guys went on to Rock Band.
Yeah.
And it just sort of, and I didn't like the Rock Band controllers as much as the original Guitar Hero controllers. And so it was just sort of I just lost interest as it was going into this big service thing. I was just like, no, I don't want this. I bought this set. I want to be able to beat it. And then this is something I've talked about a long time.
List 2005 was the original.
Oh yeah.
2006 was Guitar Hero 2. 2007 they did Rock the 80s and Legends of Rock.
wait,
2008.
EA.
Yeah, the
Not-
80s. The
not
80s one
EA,
was a pretty.
Activision.
It was kind of a
Activision.
cash grab.
Well, I remember when they finally got to like DJ Hero, it's just like, okay, come on.
They-
Yeah,
just-
TJ.
They released 4 in 2008 and 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
4, 5, 6, 7 in 2009.
Yeah, like I was so excited when Guitar Hero 2 came out. I was until I first started playing these, and then I was just like everything is different now, you know. Like that's where I developed my love of Queen and Aerosmith and just like all
My
of it.
siblings are forever disdainful of me for learning so many of these songs for the first time from Guitar Hero. I mean, but like
You don't
I know,
know
like,
Danzig?
I didn't know Danzig until I played Mother on Guitar Hero 2. Like,
See,
You know,
I
I
have
think that's the case with Lizzie as well. Because I mean, I think that's where she learned a whole lot of these songs was from Guitar Hero.
See, I have 6 older brothers and sisters, and so
Yeah, I had
a
older
lot of
siblings
a lot of
too.
my
Yeah.
music was influenced by them, but none of them were ever interested in like classic rock. They, like my sister, it was more stuff like James Taylor, and I got Billy Joel was about as heavy as they got.
yeah,
So
too soft for Guitar Hero.
yeah, and like don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Billy Joel fan, but
No,
it's not your classic rock.
no, my older brother definitely listened to a lot of the songs that are on Rock Band, so I knew him from that. You know, good old well, Nirvana's in Rock Band, right? And Metallica, and yeah.
Plenty of grunge.
I mean, they're classic rock now.
Yeah.
Black Hole Sun was
They're
on too, I
oldies.
think, wasn't it?
Yeah, you see, we can get into a whole argument as to where you have to at least hit the 50 mark to be an oldie. Like, I will accept classic rock. I will not accept oldies until the 90s or 50 years behind.
They're playing
us.
classical music over here, guys.
I mean, we're getting close to the 90s being 50 years behind us.
Somebody in my
careful.
Facebook feed said that we're just 6 years away from the 80s being 50 years, and immediately everyone in the feed was like, "How dare you, sir? How dare you attack us in such an egregious manner?
Well,
You take this back right now."
just wait until you have kids that come up to you like, "Oh, you were born in the late 1900s, weren't you?"
Yeah, they're like when you start to realize there are kids graduating now who were born after Batman Begins came out.
Oh gosh.
Oh, the 9/11.
Oh, now I feel sick. Oh, I feel sick. Oh my gosh.
have you seen like the videos of people handing somebody a 3.5 floppy, and they're like, "Oh, you 3D printed a save icon."
Yeah.
Save icon. I at least try to teach my kids about those things.
Because yeah, Batman Begins came out 19 and a half years ago.
How dare.
Oh
So-
my gosh.
Some people just
Oh
want to
my
watch
gosh.
the world burn.
And that's me right now. I am torching your worlds to the ground.
Because man, oh my gosh. I was in Panama when that came out. Oh my word. Oh gosh.
Panama.
I think you just sent Lunarsar into an existential crisis.
Yeah, I think we lost him for a minute.
Yeah, if you broke him, Lizzie's going to make you buy her a new one.
Can't
Oh,
afford
did that really kill the conversation?
Don't,
Yep.
don't
Yeah.
break him.
Well, I'm just gonna say, I just like Splice was trying to break them up like a month and a half ago. So
Oh, that's right.
know.
I was there for that. That was fun.
Yeah, you were there for Splice trying to end a marriage.
Trying to
I
remember
already-
the context.
what?
I forgot.
I can't even remember what you're talking about.
Oh, you don't remember when we did the whole Splice when Splice had us do the games you need to know
Yeah, his
Splice
like
from,
15 or
and he was
whatever,
like,
yeah.
and he was like, yeah, we should do this for other people, and like he just randomly said, it's like, so do Lizzie and Lunastar stay together? And he phrased it just like that, and it was like, what, like in real life? Like what? What are you even talking? What's happening?
Remember
The beginning
Here's one of those-
context.
The beginning or the apex of Splice's villain arc.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly.
I was
We are
watching.
so far off topic.
All I know is I was just watching the screen and I saw the pattern that they had to strum and the music started playing in my head. I didn't think I played it enough for that to happen, but it did.
It gets in your brain, man. It's good.
So to pull us on back to the topic. So like Guitar Hero and Rock Band are the two standard bearers of the rhythm game of the rhythm instrument games. But do you guys have like any weird ones? Because I know what the weird one is for me.
I have some
'Cause
great weird ones.
Because I had, which is probably not as weird as what you guys had, but I had DJ Hero with the functioning DJ controller, and
you had DJ Hero.
You actually
Yes.
had
Oh,
yeah,
I
I
don't
bought
think I
it.
knew anyone that had that.
To
This is
me,
interesting.
for me, DJ Hero was the sign of the end times.
I got DJ Hero because I really liked some of the remixes, and I was like, yeah, I like Rock Band well enough, and my friends are all being adults, so I can play DJ Hero on my own, and it's not as sad. And I got it, and so much so that just 2 years ago, I sold off the DJ Hero controller because it was for like Xbox or something. And so, like, I long since don't have that console anymore. It was just taking up space. It's like, oh, let me go take this over to the warehouse games or whatever, and let me just sell this. But like, I mean, it was pretty fun. Like, the controller could be a little fiddly because there was actually the movement was tracked in it. It had 3 buttons on the little thing, and then you also had like the slider, and I think you had like a couple of knobs that you had to manipulate around. And it was interesting. I don't think it was as fun. The soundtrack was banging though. So if you can ever find the DJ Hero soundtrack, they had some really great ones. My personal favorite was Gorillaz versus Marvin Gaye. Heard it through the grapevine, Feel Good Inc. So if you ever get a chance just to hear the track itself, highly recommend it. There were some other real bangers on there as well. But that was the weirdest one I ever played as far as the instrument games go.
No one here has tried Trombone Champ?
Oh,
I was gonna ask.
is that a real one, or you just make it up?
No. This is actually one of the rare like resurgence. I mean, it's an indie, and you don't actually have a trombone controller, but it's a PC. you control the pitch with the mouse, so it's very fiddly.
Interesting.
And it's silly. But you just watch some videos on Trombone Champ. You will not regret at least just watching.
Interesting.
It's hilarious.
So there's one. It's not really an instrument, but you could basically call it one. It was arcade only, but Paradise. To kind of describe how you play it, it's kind of like Theremin Hero.
My goodness!
Because like you had to like move your hand over and break up. You were breaking. I think you were breaking a laser beam.
Oh, okay.
The music.
Like they use a light sensor, sort of.
Yeah,
thing.
a light sensor that you were going. But yeah, it's weird because you're not. The lack of tactileness just makes it so strange. It wasn't really a theremin.
Here I'm thinking Led Zeppelin, man. Like, oh.
I mean, it wasn't really a theremin, but I mean, the lack of tactileness, you could compare it to it. But I don't know, because I mean, that one's even older than Guitar Hero, I think, because it was made as a competitor to DDR and Pump It Up.
Okay.
But they're like, we'll just use light instead of a step pad.
I just remembered an old PlayStation one.
I was going to say,
Rapper.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. That's even older.
Let's go back in time.
Yes. Kick, punch. It's all in the mind. Yes.
I'd only ever played the demo version of it. I was unaware that was an actual game.
Oh, it was an actual game.
Oh, heck! I played the demo in our Toys R Us.
Oh yeah, I just
like over and over again.
It was on my demo disc that came with my PS1, and that's the only place I played it. But
I think I bought it on
rented,
PSN.
I think I just rented that one.
But oh gosh, that was kind of in like the proto rhythm game. I feel like.
It wasn't that long before they made the dance pad in DDR on the PS1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and then the other one that comes to mind, like one of my earlier ones, was Audio Surf.
Oh yeah.
A good old Steam one. Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, or that one where like I had a friend that recorded something on an electric guitar. He's like, "Hey, check out what I did," and then he saw I played it on Audio Surf. He's like, "Hey, that's not fair. You can't win my song on Audio Surf."
It's my.
I would try and find the most obscure songs that I could, so that I could be the world leader.
Yeah, but I do that too. But then all my friends would get mad that I did that. Like, do you remember Xerox? Do you remember Xyrax? Dude, he got mad at me for like finding like old soundtracks of anime to get the world record on. He's like, and he'd get on and see I did it and start beating me. I'm like, come on, Zyrax, what's the deal, man?
I remember that. Oh, that was great. No, okay. So talking about weird ones, there's one that I have played many times and love, and no one else seems to either remember it or have played it nearly as much as I did. Did y'all ever play Bit Trip Runner?
No, I've heard of it.
I got it in a Humble Bundle, and I think I've maybe spent like 5 minutes on it.
So there was a Bit Trip, I think Bit Trip Void or Bit Trip Beat or Core. One of these was part of the Potato Pack back in the day. The Steam Potato Pack, which was 5 games. It was like part of the
that's where I got it. Maybe it was a Humble Bundle. It was part
of the lead up to Portal 2. Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, Bit Trip Runner though, I don't know what I got it as, like what led me to buy it originally, but it's this platformer. It's just this little dude running along, and you're jumping over things and dodging under them and everything. It's just a little platformer, and it's just up, down, left, right, and kick, I think.
It's all in the mind.
And basically, as different objects come to you, like honestly, the thing that it reminds me of the most is the little T-Rex game when you have no connection on Chrome.
Ah, yes.
It's just this little running, jumping, ducking game. But the better you do, you start on like the music gets more complex. Like the beat stays the same, but it starts to sound more epic as you're doing really well. And I just became obsessed with this game. And there's like several games in the series now. There's like Bit Trip Runner and Bit Trip Runner 2. There's Bit Trip Void, Bit Trip Core, Bit Trip Beat. They're all different little aspects of this rhythm game style action game. And the main character of it, his name was Captain Video. And it's just this little 8-bit dude.
Isn't that a Burger King character?
That is Kid Vid, and you know it.
Oh, right. You're right.
No, he was not part of the Burger King Kids Club.
Wait, are we talking? Sorry, I got distracted for a second. Are we talking about like the 80s Saturday morning cartoon Kid Video?
No, Kid Video was one of the characters for the Burger King Kids Club.
I think he may have been Kid Vid, actually.
Yeah, that's Kid Vid.
It was
Kid Video.
Oh my gosh! Now we have to get particular.
Kid Video was a show in the 80s on Saturday morning where a band called Kid Video got sucked through a portal, became cartoons, and were trying to get home. And then the actual band itself got big overseas in Europe, the Middle East, and Japan, because all bands get big in Japan, and was never heard from again. I assume they died.
Perhaps they died.
Rip.
Yeah. Maybe they're alive. I don't know. Like, they were just 2 seasons of a cartoon called Kid Video with a flying fairy, and there were some music videos somewhere in the desert.
80s cartoons were crazy.
Oh, yeah.
They were insane.
I don't think I've seen that one, but it made me think of Mighty Max, if you remember that one.
Oh, Mighty Max.
I think this was at some point in the same block as Q*bert and Rubik's. If you guys remember those cartoons,
they made a cartoon of Rubik, like the Rubik's Cube.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
And Q*bert. Wow. Okay.
Like Q*bert, I think I heard of, but Rubik's is a new one for me.
Rubik's was clearly somebody on I think. Rubik's was clearly somebody on a drug high who was just trying to throw something together.
It was
it was like it's been like, as we said earlier, almost 50 years. But if I remember correctly, it was something about like a cursed Rubik's Cube from a gypsy got loose, and in the right configuration, it had a face and arms and legs and magic powers. Yeah.
Boy, this sounds like nightmare fuel.
This sounds like 90% of.
And the picture of Kid Vid there. Okay, one of the names is Boomer. Huh, that has a very different meaning today.
I remember Wheels, which was really just kind of like, geez.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let's just lean right on that, huh?
Well, and the fact that the clearly Hispanic kid is named Lingo.
Yeah.
And the nerd is named IQ. What is this?
I mean, no, I mean, like
Jaws, black guy. Yeah.
it was the early '90s, man. Like everyone's identity was like skin deep and no further.
I think Kid Vid like was the only one of this pack that like actually continued beyond. Like he had some staying power.
What is he?
It's all about the backwards hat and the sunglasses that like are futuristic looking.
This is the most 80s designed by committee.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, like the same kind of people that do Captain Planet, man.
100%.
Just remember, this is what executives born in the 50s think kids in the 90s wanted, based on what the kids liked in the 80s.
Based on what they thought life would be like in 2020. You know?
Yeah.
So, speaking of rhythm games, have you guys ever played Crypta the Necrodancer?
Oh, of course.
That is
I do have that one.
I prefer the Zelda one, but yes.
Yeah, Cadence of Hyrule. Yeah,
I never quite got very far in it, but it was fun, the bit I played.
Yeah, I didn't get far in Crypt of the Necrodancer, but I loved the Cadence of Hyrule.
Right. Like same thing with me. Like I didn't get far into it. I think it was free on the Switch or something like that. I ended up not paying for it and just ending up with it. It might have been a giveaway from
it was very easy to get a hold of.
Wait, yeah, Crypt of the Necrodancer or Cadence of Hyrule?
Crypt of the Necrodancer. I never got Cadence of Hyrule.
Man, I think I played that on my netbook.
I mean, I don't think it's like
remember what a netbook was.
I remember netbooks.
Chromebook.
It was not a Chromebook. It was before the Chromebooks were a thing.
Yeah.
But it was like this very narrow window, like from like 2000, 2011.
Well, we ended up getting one actually to try and take notes at college with, and eventually we just sold it to another student because it
ran like.
Yeah,
because it ran like hot garbage because it had the hopes and dreams of everyone who ever worked at a bowling alley to power it.
I'm not even sure if it had. I can't even remember what type of CPU it had.
It was the crummy Atom. That's what it was using.
Yeah, the Intel Atom.
Why would you even speak that affliction back into the world? Like we should just let that.
Because I had to work on an HP product that used it, and that was also kind of.
All I know is that allowed the AMD cat cores to keep that company in business. Thank goodness for that, right?
That is true, I suppose. So I will say I did find the opening animation to Rubik. If anyone wants to play it, so you guys can see this, feel free. It's in the watch together. I leave it to the rest of you to decide if you want to venture into those waters since it's off topic.
I remember. Did I share my my Black Friday Guitar Hero 2 story? I thought I might have.
I think you went to a Circuit City.
Yes, the Circuit City. Okay, so I think I must have.
But I mean, like, it's appropriate. Tell it again.
Sure. I mean, it's more of a quick recap. I mean, the year was 2006, right? You know, Guitar Hero 2 was out, but more importantly, the Wii was out, and that was the hot thing that everyone wanted. My brother was visiting me, and he wanted a Wii, and I'm like, well, I guess we're gonna do this, and we did the Black Friday. We lined up at 4 a.m. in front of the Provo Circuit City with us and 300 of our worst enemies. And by the time we got into the store, they were sold out of the Wiis, and I was like, I'm bound and determined we're getting something. And the something that I got was a reserved Guitar Hero 2. I just strong-armed one of the employees at the store to sell it to me anyway. And I used it, and I bought it under the guise of, I'm going to get this for my sister. But I totally wanted to play it myself. But I mean, we were all going home for the holidays, so we were all going to play it. So that worked out.
See, I actually did get my Wii on day one because rather than camping out overnight for days when it was first released, I camped for like 2.5 hours when it was available for pre-order. Because I knew when to pay attention.
Yeah, the Wii was a hard thing to get a hold of for the first few months.
I had an inside guy, and if I remember correctly, right after you told that story, I told the story on how I actually got a Wii day after launch.
Oh yeah, I remember now. Yeah.
Yeah. Two were delivered to Sam's. My dad worked at Sam's. Hey, do you want this? Yeah, I'm coming right now. Hold on. Where'd you get that? Over there. Leave me alone. Don't beat me up, soccer mom lady. Anyway.
One of the worst superhero names.
And that's how you broke your leg, because she wanted it.
Yeah. That's a nice Wii you have there. Shame if something happened to your leg. She wanted your leg?
I don't know. It sounds like something I'm writing in a book, but that would happen. It's for a 7-year-old, and it's called Uncle Kami Takes on the Luchadors. So.
Well, I for one enjoyed Rock Band getting a constant stream of downloadable content. I mean, from my perspective, you can play through the career mode, but the songs were just songs you wanted to play. And they would, about every week, I think, for a few years. They were coming out with new ones.
And you were so magnanimous letting your roommates download whatever song they wanted, right? That's how I remember it, right?
Not your dollars.
But they were my dollars. I was giving them to you.
I don't know. I don't like the whole constantly paying for more songs. I mean, granted, I wasn't the one who had Rock Band. It was when I was roommates with Breakfast. The other roommate we had, Puge, he's the one who had Rock Band, and we'd play.
Puge.
And he's the one who beat me one time.
That's a name I haven't heard.
Oh, he's the one who beat you.
yes.
It was an obnoxious situation that, oh gosh.
I remember you.
Was it Knights of Sidonia? Because he worked hard to practice that song.
I think it was the Muse song. Yes.
I wanted to deck him because he was just obnoxious about it.
I'd never seen Baggins so angry at someone at that point.
Well, that's the thing. He practiced that song a lot to be able to do it, so I'm not surprised he wanted to show off.
And it was my first time ever playing that song.
Oh, yeah, you get wrecked the first time playing it, because that song is hard.
Why would anyone want to make Baggins mad? That just doesn't seem like... Well, that doesn't seem like a healthy choice.
I don't think that was an intent. He just wanted to win.
There are 3 things a wise man fears:
death, taxes, and Baggins.
The Name of the Wind.
What is it? Something on a moonless, a moonless night.
A sea in the storm.
The sea in a storm, and the anger of a quiet man.
But there is no sea and storm.
No, not the letter C.
It scares me.
So, but that brings an interesting question in about this, because I think we kind of touched on this the last time when we brought up rhythm games. Looking back at it now, and I know that this isn't entirely true, but it feels like rhythm games definitely contributed heavily to the DLC culture that we have today. And especially now looking back at it with the type of games they are, and, like Baggins and like all you guys were saying, it's like you downloaded songs, and now functionally that money's been thrown away because maybe you can still get it back somehow if you go back to an old system and you've downloaded it on that system.
Yeah, that was always the kind of what happened.
Yeah, it's that's just as opposed to again, physical copies, and we've had this argument before, which you can have forever, or good old games who tries to preserve that type of stuff. Looking at you, Blizzard, for your shenanigans. Knowing what you know now about that progression, would you go back and would you support those DLCs, buy those songs, knowing that, you've got a limited time frame on how long you're going to use it, be it months or years, but the time does run out on that. And eventually you don't get that back unless you just have
to be fair, at that time, that wasn't so different from the typical music models that were going at the time. This is like 2010. Like this is before streaming services. Before Spotify had really taken off.
This was the age of iTunes and LimeWire.
And so, if you wanted to have something legit, you paid the 99 cents or whatever that it cost. I mean, these songs, I think they were like $2.99 or something. They weren't that much.
Except when you buy an MP3, you still have it on your computer. Well, I guess though some of them tried to go pretty heavy on the DRM though.
Oh, they were heavy on
DRM. But they were easy to. I mean. Well, I don't know.
Well,
I typically buy MP3s from places that don't do DRM, but some were bad.
To that point,
I was on the high seas for music personally, but
But to that point, every single thing I've bought through iTunes, I still have. I still own. I can download it right now if I want to.
Actually, Lizzie had bought stuff on iTunes. I mean, I've never given Apple a penny ever in my life, and I like being able to say that. But
yes, you're very special.
But Lizzie, for her, like you had to like rip it onto a CD and then you could get it DRM free after you made like a music CD with it. So it was kind of like you could get it DRM free, but it was like a pain. You had to go through extra steps.
So what you're saying is you had to launder it.
Kind of, but they're the ones who set it up to do it that way. So
Well, I mean, okay, so to the Rock Band question, really, I mean, it's a question of, how long did the Rock Band, craze last? Because I lost interest long before I was sad about the loss of the music that I had purchased.
Right.
I feel Rock Band didn't last nearly as long as Guitar Hero did. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, Guitar Hero was, it wasn't flooded when they started. For one thing, Rock Band is already entering a pretty busy market by the time they had entered in 2009.
Like we said, Rock Band was the Guitar Hero team after Activision took control of it and then just sort of flooded the market.
Well, and I also feel like I think on paper, Rock Band sounds cooler, but I think in practice, the extra complication of, you're on the drums and there's, the guitar and the bass and then the singing, like it made it more complicated and, it had some people wanting to specialize or if they just wanted to play the one thing, but the game, you had times where you had to try and focus on something else. Like if you were decent on the guitar, but terrible on the drums and I don't know. I feel like the extra complication actually was a detriment to the game. Like for people who were really, really into it, it was a cool feature.
It was awesome.
But I
loved it.
But I think for like just the average normie, I think that extra complication made it harder, which is often the case with games. Like,
but you were never required to sing nor play the drums, so you could totally play Rock Band just like Guitar Hero. Do the guitars
For me, what it served as was a reminder that I didn't have as many friends as I wanted, as I wished I had.
I loved it in the sense I could get more people at a time participating. That was what I liked.
See, I didn't have anybody who wanted to play when I was playing.
Oh, I remember.
I was always awful at the guitar, so I enjoyed the fact that I had other options other than the guitar to play.
Yeah, singing is not too bad. If you want to bang on the drums all day, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
All I remember is that every time the Gotta Keep 'Em Separated came out, what did Gordon call it?
Offspring is overrated.
See, okay, so let's talk about the singing aspect of it because I loved Karaoke Revolution.
Okay.
That's actually probably the one I got into.
Oh, right. That's
first.
right. I forgot about that one.
Karaoke Revolution?
That's right. The DDR people made Karaoke Revolution. I forgot about that.
I have like 7 or 8 versions of Karaoke Revolution.
I
still have
that was a thing.
Oh my gosh! Because you didn't go into the other room because that room was actually.
No, I really didn't. I beelined into the Guitar Hero.
Packed. No, because they just had an awesome collection of it. Because there were I think there were 3 or 4 mainline games, and then they had 2 American Idol versions of it. They had a country one. They had it was nuts. I have so many of these games.
Oh, that's right. That does make me think of others, but anyway, continue.
And like I actually would host karaoke nights with just these games. I took it home. We did it on New Year's with my family. It was so much fun. And
I mean,
of
karaoke
course,
period is fun. So
exactly. Yeah. Well, and the thing is, it's amazing because it's kind of evolved into this. What's it called? It's like not Zune or not like Zune like the music, but it's like a. There's an app on your phone that people will actually record. And it's basically
I've seen ads for it. Yeah,
it's basically the same mechanics as Karaoke Revolution. It's just now it's on your phone, and like I know people who will like make videos and like they'll do duets with people, and it's become this whole weird musical social media culture thing. Like I have a friend who got way into it.
Isn't it also like the best part of the Yakuza games, according to some people?
Yeah.
But anyway, Karaoke Revolution. Like
I'll play Yakuza for the karaoke.
Though, actually, now that you mentioned all the singing aspect in Rock Band and karaoke, I actually remember before me and Lizzie were even dating, she actually did draw a picture of me singing into a microphone while playing Rock Band with the roommates. So
It's a good time.
Yeah.
It's a good time. I mean, it's a great party game. Like it's hard to beat. With the full Rock Band. All four going. It's great.
Well, and I could get my dad to play.
Oh, okay. It's weird because I hear you guys talking about playing it with your parents, and I just can't even fathom and imagine that at all.
Never gonna happen.
My parents only very rarely participated, but yeah, they could play it.
No, the only games I ever got my dad to play were Wii Sports and Duck Hunt. And that was a bonding thing for me and him because every so often, like it was the only game I could get my dad, and I go up to him and say, "Hey, Dad, you want to shoot some ducks?" And he just got a kick out of it. So stupid dog.
Stupid dog.
Yeah, I just can't fathom. I mean, granted, it's because my dad ain't got rhythm, like none. In fact, I did get him to try and play DDR once, and actually it was kind of funny to watch. But no rhythm, which you kind of need to have in a rhythm game.
And sometimes I'm just too computer pilled, and I hear DDR, and I'm like, DDR3, you mean? Or
I mean, there was a DDR3.
16 gig, 32 gig. Yeah.
We're not talking about RAM.
Granted, I'm a computer guy too, so
I'm just saying. Like, it's like in my head, I'm like, what? Oh, that DDR. Yes. Okay.
Yes, double data rate, Revolution, Max. There we go.
The second generation.
I was going to say, like, with more recent iterations, I mean, there's the whole Just Dance genre that actually is a kind of related. I mean, there's rhythm. I mean, but that's part of the whole, Xbox Connect kind of thing, because that's really what that buys into. Because then you're actually like trying to mimic the dance moves of these people who green screen recorded themselves. And that could be a lot of fun too.
No, we had to get rid of Just Dance though, because our daughter did like to play it, but then we started realizing what lyrics were in the music, and
some of the moves sometimes.
And the girls singing along, and we're like, no, this has got to go. This is not okay. Because I mean, I feel like the classic rock and Rock Band, that the lyrics were never really an issue in those songs, but in Just Dance and pop music, they definitely were.
I was just saying, like Cherry Pie.
Well, Cherry Pie, I actually can't remember the lyrics in that one, but I was just thinking like, Sweet Child of Mine, and I don't know. Well, maybe, I don't know. I guess I never had my daughter singing the songs from Rock Band. Granted, I don't think she ever played it, so maybe I just didn't think about it, but
Probably
I mean,
that.
so Rock Band for me pretty much had a hard stop around 2012. I don't know if anyone was playing it much beyond that. Because I think by that point it was it the third one that came? Because I had the keys, I had the keyboard, and that was kind of cool, a cool addition.
Or maybe it was just before I was a parent, I didn't pay attention to lyrics. That's probably more likely.
Yeah, probably more likely.
That was also when I picked up the Pro guitar. So for those who don't know, they were trying to get people more closely acclimated to an actual guitar, and so they had the Pro guitar, which actually had individual strings that would register when you plucked them, and then every single fretboard was a button, so that like dozens of buttons on this thing, and you actually had
that
to
thing was nuts.
yeah, you actually were like basically making chords with your fingers, granted just with buttons. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and it was hard because it's like, oh, I actually have to learn like fingering and all this kind of thing.
Well,
and
suddenly it's just like, if I'm gonna do this, why don't I just learn to play the guitar?
Well, there was that, and then by that point, I had graduated. By the time I was starting to maybe get a little bit good at it, and that kind of ended that whole effort. But it was nice while it was there. I mean, and I know that like I sunk probably at least $100 worth of DLC and songs that I had gotten for Rock Band that I'm not gonna see again, I suppose. But like also I enjoyed the songs while I had them, and I don't
no longer
really
your
regret
dollars.
Those dollars are long gone. Yeah. They're no longer they're harmonics dollars. Or
well, I looked up some lyrics and I regret life now. Thanks for that.
I feel like Rock Band kind of evolved into like Beat Saber was the thing that kind of took rhythm games.
Yeah. Well,
when they started going into.
I think the controllers and like the console generations changing, and they weren't compatible any longer. And that just definitely made it more difficult because the controllers were an investment.
Oh yes, yes they were.
And not just the controllers. Again, the games themselves. Are you going to really purchase all of that again?
And that's kind of why I fell off, because I was like, I had my PS2 and I had everything on the PS2.
I mean, Rock Band was decent in that they had cross compatibility, at least with the DLC songs. But the controllers, they couldn't guarantee that your Xbox 360 controller will work with the Xbox whatever came out. I never got an Xbox after that one, I think.
I think one was.
Yeah.
Microsoft has some serious problems naming consoles.
Xbone, I think.
Oh, and I've got an Xbone. I haven't turned it in 2 years.
That's definitely what I called it. Especially because I feel like there already was a first Xbox.
I have an Xbox. It's called my PC, so
Well, that's
these days.
That's the reason why I actually have never bought any Xbox, because it's like you have a PC, you have a PlayStation. What in the world is the Xbox gonna do?
The 360 had its place for its time,
yeah.
And then after that it was.
I guess I didn't get to play the Fable 2, but whatever, I don't care.
Oh, yeah, it's okay. You weren't missing a whole lot.
Yeah, 360 is basically the last Xbox or a console I ever bought.
But yeah, I mean, like there are
well, for a lot of people, it was like the first one too, and the last.
Beat Saber is kind of like one of the last vestiges left. I mean, and there's those like you're saying that mobile karaoke kind of. I mean, karaoke is gonna be around forever. That's never going away. But I don't know if like the guitar controller games. I mean, there was Rocksmith, I think. They tried to push, I think, like 7 or 8 years ago.
That wasn't just the age of the rhythm game. That was the age of like the bonus peripherals. I mean, because you had all of those different controllers, and that was also when you started getting stuff like the Kinect, like the Xbox Kinect.
Well, and the Xbone, like they you couldn't get one without the Kinect. I remember for a long time.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it was like part of it integrated, wasn't it?
it was integrated, and yeah. No, I
But it
remember I worked at AMD at the time, and they were pushing it pretty hard. I saw many a Microsoft inside presentation talking about it. I'm just like, I don't think that's gonna go over well. But okay, whatever.
Well,
They're saying like that's $100 to the cross of the X-Bone, and
well, that was when Microsoft and Sony were really trying to catch up after the Wii blew everyone's mind.
Oh yeah,
with
And it's
weaker
just like-
hardware. That's the other thing. Like, yeah,
But the thing is, it had been planned and built, and like, rather than, oh, we got to get something out now.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, of course, in the Kinect 2 that came with the Xbone, it's like they're talking about its features. It's like that sounds more creepy than cool. Like, let's be honest. The fact that my Xbox One can determine my heart rate by looking at an infrared camera of my blood flowing through my system, that's creepy.
Terrifying. That's terrifying.
That's absolutely terrifying. But they're like, this is cool. I'm like, no, it's not.
It's like, Microsoft, that is information I don't need you to have.
I have a watch on right now, but okay. That's that.
Well, that's, yes, Fitbits and whatnot, but
Yeah.
But that's not based on a camera just looking.
Well,
at
yes, like I'm intentionally using it for that purpose to help me with exercise.
No. Okay. So.
well, actually, I mean, actually, some of the Fitbit ones are a camera, but that's neither here nor there. But
well, the photo sensor, yes.
Okay. So we've talked about a lot of games, and we've mentioned one that I feel is vastly underappreciated, but in my opinion, it was one of the funnest ones. And this is the one that Jordan mentioned a little while ago, Donkey Konga.
Ah, yes.
I never got to play it. I never did.
Game.
The only time I played it was your rhythm night, actually.
This game, like I remember coming across it at GameStop or EB Games at the time, actually, and being like, "What
Games,
in the
man.
world
Nice.
is this?" And it's one of the first games I bought for my GameCube, I remember, and I bought it and I took it home, and I'm just sort of playing through. I was like, "Why have I never heard of this? This is amazing."
Well, and I've seen videos of people using the Donkey Konga controller to play other games.
Do other things. I think I saw
Yeah.
Overwatch. I think I remember seeing Overwatch with the bongos. That was something to play Winston, especially.
Oh gosh.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, because you have these bongo drums, and it has a left button, a right button. You can hit both of them at the same time, and you can clap, and it has a microphone, and it registers the clap. And it's just you're playing the bongo drums along with classic Nintendo music and classic just songs like Rock Lobster and Wipeout, and like it's just I'm drumming and it's fun. But there were
It does
two
make
different
your hands sore.
well, so here's the thing. The first party controllers were nice and soft. The third party controllers that I bought, they were much, much harder. And those I think are what Splice got stuck with. I have a picture of him holding up his hands like incredibly sore, and they're like
red.
glowing. They're glowing red.
Regrets were had.
Oh man, but it was such a fun and underappreciated game. Nobody knew about this game. Like I feel like it was undermarketed and just unappreciated.
Well, I mean, it's going to be a hard sell when you require another controller to be sold with it, right?
Rock Band.
No, I know,
Guitar
but
Hero,
but those took off, and Donkey Konga, it's a little more niche.
Only a
Well,
little.
those controllers are exactly why all of those games are really cheap to buy, because no one has the controllers for them anymore.
That's the thing, right? That was always going to be a struggle with these things going in perpetuity, because these controllers take up physical space. That was something that I had to grapple with when I moved from college, and I'm like, am I really going to set up my drum set again for Rock Band when I don't have like my roommates here ready to do a sesh with me. Like,
Oh my gosh! I just pulled up that picture of Splice. He looks so young.
What picture of Slice?
I will
Splice.
share it with y'all. This is amazing.
Okay.
I don't like it
Hang
when
on.
it looks so thin.
You don't like that you're gonna look so thin?
Well, I think it's more.
with bated breath. Wait,
I think it's
There
the
it
time
is.
machine aspect. Oh my gosh.
Dear Lord.
No, I will not go. What is that shirt? I'm more
What?
interested
What
in
is
your
with
shirt.
that shirt? What the
I'm more
heck,
interested in
dude?
your
Wait.
shirt, Splice.
What's happening here?
Our viewers
I
can't
don't
even see
remember
what
this
we're
shirt.
talking about.
I don't know if Lizzie is listening, but she's definitely babyface shot Splice.
My mom
So
got
what's
me
this- what's
that
this-
shirt.
2006. This must have been like, I don't
It
know,
would have been around there.
man.
Yeah, this is way back when.
When Batman Begins came out. Ah!
All comes full circle.
No, this was 2 years after Batman Begins.
Oh no, it's even worse. Whew, wow.
But those
It's
hands,
funny.
man.
I don't remember that shirt.
Here, I'll share one for Petrivka as well.
Oh dear.
Oh, all right.
That was when we
That was
did
our Frogman
Freebird.
night. Oh, that was such a man. That's a
When we
core
got to
memory
90,
for
when we
me.
got to 99%.
That was a core memory for me, man.
Oh yes. Oh no, we only got to 74%.
This must have been around Christmas time, I guess. Is that why?
I
Oh no, we
think so.
failed.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
I think this is maybe only like the second time I had played the game, though. So
Well, and it was just
'Cause I
so
didn't
frustrating on
have it.
Freebird because it's just so. It takes forever to get to the
it's
hard part.
long, and yeah.
Yep.
And it's not until you get to the big solo you're like, oh no.
No, that's when you and I became friends. That night was.
Well, and it's a perfect joke because it calls back to the first game where they said if they're telling you to play Freebird, it's not a compliment. And then
Well, there's
the third-
evidence I was playing it.
Yep. And then there was the third one that had Dragon Force.
Oh, that's
Oh
right.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, I think I'm wearing one of my high school shirts here, actually. One of my marching band high school shirts.
Man, it's crazy going back through these. I came across pictures of. I was like, this is the birth of a couple of my friends who have been married for like 15 years now.
This is like, Facebook was barely around back then. Jeez.
Uh-huh.
As a little side note here, can I say thank God that Facebook didn't come around until after our generation?
I mean,
dear Lord.
I don't know if I could really say that it came after I got. I got
I
in
was
early.
I was in college. I got it. Yeah.
I was well in my 20s when Facebook came around, and I'm so happy for it.
All of these pictures I'm posting are from Facebook, actually.
I'm glad I wasn't in high school when it was around. I'll say that much.
Well,
Yes.
I feel like, when did Facebook come out? Because I remember.
It was like 2005-ish.
Because I'm trying to think. I made an account just because I wanted to.
Oh my gosh, I look so locked in.
Just to look up someone's page, and then I never used it ever again. But yeah, I guess.
Slice never.
But I guess when I was in high school, it was more about MySpace at the time.
Yeah, my MySpace was. I kind of just missed the MySpace boat
See,
because of my mission.
For me, it was all about GeoCities. Oh yeah.
Well, now you're speaking the old tongue.
GeoCities. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do not speak of the deep magic to me, which I was there when it was written. So.
GeoCities, and I didn't that just recently finally retire? I think it was like a few years ago.
No, my
10 years ago.
GeoCities page has been gone for a long time.
And
No,
Angel
not
Fire.
MySpace, GeoCities specifically. Yeah.
I want to say GeoCities is like 10 years gone.
Yeah, I feel like it's been gone for a long time.
I mean, it hasn't been really active, right? But I think it kept like finding like some
it was
little hoster or something. Like someone would host it.
But like most of the stuff had been nuked long ago.
Right. I mean, most of the links were dead, right? They didn't because everything got moved around, a dozen times. But still,
according to the Wikipedia, it ended in October of 2009.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that felt like a few years ago. Damn it.
Like 15. Holy cow, man.
15 years ago. People who were born people who were born after GeoCities ended can get their learner's permits.
No, it's not.
Those of us who are parents, none of our kids have lived in a world where GeoCities existed, okay?
Oh, man.
Oh,
I don't think maybe your kids have lived in a world where you'rethemannowdog.com was active.
To be fair, it is archived and safe. You can see many of those old classics.
Also, they couldn't go to Homestar Runner, but I believe that's been brought back to life. Yeah,
Homestar Runner is back.
Wait,
I mean, like the
Flash is gone. How did they do it?
They're emulating Flash.
Oh my gosh, really? I did not know this.
Yes.
I know they put a lot of them on YouTube, which is, it's close.
No, homestarrunner.com is back and it's running again.
When did this happen?
In the last year or so, about a year ago, I think.
Okay, I was going to say it must not have been that long ago.
Well, part of it was also that the brothers Chapman, who are the creators of the brothers Chaps, they initially the thing which drew them away from homestarrunner.com is that they went and they did Yo Gabba Gabba, and now Yo Gabba Gabba's done, and so they're like, let's go back to our vanity project for a little while. And they were palate cleanser.
I remember they also did. There was a because they were based in Atlanta, if I remember right. But there was a local chain of pizza restaurants called the Mellow Mushroom, and they did the ad campaign for that.
They've reached as far as here. There was a Mellow Mushroom here.
They were in Houston.
I know they were actually as far out as Denver because Karina talked about the Mellow Mushroom and being in Denver.
Yeah, and the Mellow Mushroom is based in Atlanta. So we had one in Birmingham where I grew up. Way back in the day. I remember going to it in the early, around 2001, 2002, but it had probably been around for longer than that. But the Brothers Chaps did the ad campaign for them and designed some characters and everything. It was really cool.
Well, maybe I shouldn't say they both went to go to Yo Gabba Gabba. Looking at it now, it just looks like Matt Chapman did it. And Mike just did other things. They also did Teen Titans Go.
When you say Yo Gabba Gabba, you mean the little kids show?
The kids show. Yeah.
They were
dude. My mother for some reason was like, "Oh, you should have your kids watch it." But it's like she showed it to us and we're like, "This seems so obnoxious." No, I'm not getting my kids on it.
My kids dug it.
They did Yo Gabba Gabba.
He did Gravity Falls.
2007, and then from 11, Gravity Falls, the Aquabats Super Show, couple of various stuff. Star versus the Forces of Evil. Apparently, they were.
That was all them. They did Gravity Falls. They really did well.
Writers and actor.
Oh yeah. Well, and now
we say they. We mean Matt. Mike.
Yeah.
Didn't do this apparently. Apparently, Mike just died. And was subsequently resurrected.
Didn't actually.
Rip and welcome back.
Yeah, something like that. Something called Two More Eggs.
But yeah, so they've been doing more Homestar Runner stuff again.
I mean, I've been seeing the occasional shorts get released to YouTube. But
but they're being released to the website again now too. And
that's wild. I have to tell Allison.
Well, and now I have Trogdor the board game, which is
nice.
kind of delightful. It's actually a really fun game. I also
sure
have
it
a Homestar Runner puppet, which is kind of wonderful. It has eyes that you can
.com.
you can move the eyes to the other side. They're attached with magnets so that you can have it face either way.
Oh,
Or you
like
can if you can
I'm
put
sorry.
it so that they're front facing and it's absolutely cursed.
We're just talking about old internet now.
Mike Chapman married Missy Palmer, who was the voice of Marzipan.
Yep.
So
In
that's
2004.
Marzipan.
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 I'm
And they have
sad
kids
that
who
I'm
presumably have never known
flying.
GeoCities as well.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
It's the best.
So do we have anything else on topic here?
More rhythm games?
Because we've been kind of going in every direction.
We've been going all over,
Here.
right?
Well,
I didn't
part of
know.
it, I think this topic just sort of takes us back to that era, and there was
It
so
is such a
much in
specific
that era.
It's
It
like
was-
this 5-year period, from
Yep.
like 2005 to 2010 was really the heyday.
I'd say 3 to 8.
So here's a question.
Well, I'm
Like,
thinking guitar. I'm a
going
Guitar
through-
Hero bias.
Oh,
So.
Yeah, fair enough.
This window where these games were big and all the stuff we've been talking about, would this be effectively the good old days for us? Like as it were, like our parents talk about good old
I mean,
days. Is this
that's kind of what
like,
this whole show is
Yeah.
about.
I mean, yes, though I kind of feel like this is towards the end of the good old days, though, for me.
This
In
is
the
when
dark
things
times.
started getting
in the
bad.
times before the dark
This
times.
goes to the end of my college time.
This is the college, this is the college time and getting married and getting a job and adulthood and
having to adult.
yes, this is the last stupid thing I do before adult takes over is playing Guitar Hero, which shows.
I think my kids would honestly be amazed to know that I could play this game. I don't think they know that I can.
Oh,
do this.
it'd blow
Can you
their
still
mind.
play this game? Just out of curiosity, because like,
I don't have the stuff. I gave it away. I goodwilled it.
I've got all mine still.
Like if somebody whipped it out right now, do you think you'd be as good? Like, is that? Do you think that muscle
No,
memory?
I don't think I'd be
as
as
good?
good.
No.
I would be rusty, but
I could get there. I think
I could get back to it pretty quick. But I would definitely be rusty.
Yeah, no. I like if I pulled out DDR, I don't think I could quite do what I was doing before. But I have pulled out DDR on occasion to play it, though.
Yeah, DDR would break me. So,
DDR was one. Well, it's funny when I think about before I went to
40-year-old
the
knees.
college
I don't
year-
think I could do that.
yeah, I'd pop a lung playing DDR.
But yeah, when I was at before I went to university where you were, I went to a different school, and the friends I made, I just kind of went to like the common room in the dorm and set up my PS2 with DDR and just kind of played, and then the people who came and stopped by be like, dude, DDR. That's like how I made most of my friends.
That was really the
Freshmen.
great thing about these rhythm games, though, because they're so accessible. They're not really like gamer coded. It's something that like normies can appreciate.
Yeah, because it's like I remember one like a good buddy I had my freshman year there is he's like, dude, DDR. I'm like, oh, do you like DDR? And he just like looks at me, turns to me, he's like, dude, I'm Asian, of course I like DDR. Oh, they became a good friend. And then what was really crazy was like the next day I'm just doing homework or whatever in my dorm room, and suddenly there's a knock at my door. And like I open it and there's like a group of 4 girls, and I'm like, hi, and they're like, hey, you're the one who had DDR, right?
You're like, oh my gosh, girls are coming to my apartment.
It's like, could you set that up and play with us? It's like,
Finally,
okay,
the gamer portfolio is paying off.
Wait, that wasn't a dream? So
And you weren't wearing Splice's shirt.
I was not wearing Spice's shirt. Thank goodness, right? No.
All I know is my family got me that shirt. They're sending very mixed signals.
they really are.
Oh yeah.
I would also like to say, no, I got nothing. Like that was a, I don't know what's going on with that shirt.
Yeah, I think that was part of really the appeal to these rhythm games was just that it was very accessible. Like the controls were only what you saw on the controller, or it was the microphone. Even easier. You just sing into the microphone.
And yeah, it's the kind of thing like you don't have to be a gamer to play it. It's like you hand it to them, like, oh, blue. I push blue. Got it. Okay, let's go.
You don't have to say like, oh no, you got to hit the right trigger button. Like there's none of that.
You have to push circle. What?
Or DDR, it's the up on the pad.
It's the pad that has the arrow pointing away from you.
Well, it's like not
match the arrows.
No, not on the joystick, on the D-pad. On the what? On the D.
So you've got
no. You got to use the left stick. The left stick.
Push B. Why does B come before A?
Yeah, you have to hit the R3. The R3 is when you take the thumbstick on the right
push
and
the
you
stick
press
in.
it in.
No, not up, in. The stick is a button. A button.
And you managed to crash Splice's copy of Metroid Prime 3.
Yeah. Okay, well.
And now nobody wants to talk to you anymore.
I don't know. Rock Band was always like the cool down after my D&D or Scion or Vampire the Masquerade sessions. Like it was always like, while we were waiting for everyone to get there, Rock Band, to get into the spirit of camaraderie. And then after you're finished, as everyone's like milling about, do a couple of things of Rock Band, and then everyone goes on their merry way.
Yeah, mine
do
was
a couple lines of Rock Band.
And mine was all the rhythm nights.
You should host another one, and you should exclusively like start off the evening with the rhythm of the night.
I don't have friends anymore.
And do you have?
I'm sorry, is Splice not your friend?
Right now,
he's my
not.
tenant. I have to pay him to be my friend now. Or no, he
has to pay you.
He pays me.
You're the lord of the land.
That's right.
Back in
like that.
I am capital. He is labor.
Works.
He is your serf.
Indeed.
You are
I have to house him for him to be my friend.
Well, we've been going for a while. Hey, Lord of the Land, do you want to promote anything?
Sure. The Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies podcast. It's a podcast that Splices on it, and our friend Amy as well.
Is there a big book out right now?
I was going to say, we talk about Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere, and if you're at all interested in the Cosmere, one of his biggest releases just happened this last weekend. Splice and I were both at the big convention where it happened, which was
why
all
I'm
kinds
diseased.
Of
I got the con crud.
It's why he's beplagued.
It was a ton of fun, though.
It was a lot of fun, and the book is super thick, and all kinds of stuff is happening in it. Right
how many pages?
1,300 something.
Oh,
how many C's in thick?
How many what?
How many C's in thick?
How many letters C?
Yeah.
Oh,
come on.
Dummy
I'm older
thick?
than you. There's no way you don't get that.
Come on,
at
dummy thick.
At least dummy thick. I agree.
Dummy thick, especially the David Hayter voicing Snake. That one. Oh gosh.
Dummy thick.
I'm missing something. I don't know this one.
Oh my gosh.
We'll move along. That's fine. We'll fix it in post. Yes, as a matter of fact. Not so much promote, but I wanted to thank everyone. I don't know if you guys have heard. It's been a little bit since we've done this, but I've come on here every week, and I have promoted my fantastic partner, Karina J., and her story, Entangled Enemies, over on Tapas in a contest. And it was looking a little dicey there, but she made the top 25, which means
Nice.
all of you guys, all of the voting was worth it. Thank you so much. Right now, it is now in the hands of the judges. They will read her first 20 chapters, and from there, they will decide if she is awarded one of the top 5 contracts. You will find out in January. But if you're looking for a story to read, she is still publishing. As a matter of fact, she published something today before the podcast tonight. So go ahead, head on to Tapas, read Entangled Enemies, read all of them, give her some likes, give her some comments, and she very much enjoys hearing from all of y'all. Thank you.
Great.
Pirate, do you have anything you want to promote?
No, just happy to be here.
All right, Looney.
Sure. I've actually been doing. Have you guys heard of Advent of Code at all?
I have not.
Yep, I have not.
Is there a little chocolate involved?
It is. Well, it is an Advent calendar, but it's an Advent calendar of daily coding challenges, and I have some coworkers that made like a private leaderboard, and so we've been competing.
Sorry, without a chocolate, it's hard for me to get in. But...
Yeah, there's not a chocolate, but well, I've kind of really gotten into it, and I'm currently creaming my coworkers, which was hard because I had a coworker that was absolutely destroying all of us, but I've caught up. In fact, the newest one for tomorrow drops in 8 minutes, and I'll probably be doing that. But I don't know. I've been having a lot of fun with it. Advent of Code. If you want to practice coding, learn some new techniques, and build your own coding library. It's nice to have code that you own instead of your employer. So it's fun.
All right, and of course you can find me on twitch.tv/splicestream when I'm not dying. That's all I got.
Well, I think